Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful ribbed cardigan. I paired it up with the sunburst flower crochet top as well as a matching pair of shorts. So I'll be leaving the related content in the description box below. For example, the tutorial for the top as well as a written pattern. So this cardigan also has a written pattern and you can find all of those in the description box below. So let's get started. This cardigan has a ribbing at the base. It's very subtle. Some people may not even notice it, but it's there, as well as at the base of the sleeves. And you can either leave it like this or go ahead and have a ribbing around the front opening of the cardigan if you wish. So I'll be giving you both options within this video and also show you how to attach beautiful flowers to make this project even more colorful than it already is. So let's get started. Alright guys, now for the materials, I used this yarn. It's called Marina Double Knit. Each ball is about 300 yards and I used approximately 6 balls for the main body of the cardigan and then 1 ball of the yellow color in order to make these beautiful flowers. And I'll be leaving the yarn amounts in the description box below. So this is the yarn that I used. For the body of the cardigan, I used 2 strands. And then for the ribbing, I used 1 strand. For the flower, I used 1 strand. So as we keep working, you'll notice that I'll be switching hooks. So I used 3 hooks for this project. And the 8mm crochet hook worked the main body of the cardigan, and then the 6mm worked the front ribbing around the front opening of the cardigan, and then the 4mm worked the flower design of our piece or our cardigan. So you'll need an 8mm, a 6mm, and a 4mm crochet hook. And then you'll also need a pair of scissors, a darning needle, and a measuring tape. This is going to help us measure our shoulder to shoulder measurement. But along the way, as we keep working our project, I'll be recommending a number of rows. In case you meet the same exact tension as mine, I'll be also mentioning the gauge for this project. So this is key because it's going to help us take the length of the cardigan that we need. Mine is on the cropped end, and if you want yours to be a little longer, then you will consider something longer than what I mentioned within the video. So let's go right into the video. Alright, so we're going to start off with the main body of the cardigan, and we are starting off with our 8mm crochet hook. So you're going to start off with a slip knot, and you're going to make a chain that's long enough to run from the top of your shoulder up to where you want your cardigan to stop. This can either be cropped or even longer or even a duster cardigan. That's really up to you at this point. So you're going to just yarn over, pull through, and make a simple chain of how long you want your cardigan to be. So at this point, I'm using a double strand, as you can see here. This is going to help us with the thickness of our cardigan. And also the 8mm crochet hook is going to help us get kind of like a loose tension so that our stitches are not very tight, and it's going to give it a beautiful drape. So let me go ahead and make my desired length of cardigan, and I'll let you know how many chains that I ended up making. Alright, so I have my 51 chains, or however long I want my cardigan to be. This is the back panel, remember. So I have 51 chains. You're going to make sure that that number is an odd number. So 51. And I'm going to go into the second chain from the hook. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a single crochet. So we're going to single crochet until we have a total of 10 single crochets. So that's the second one. This is the third. the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and this is the 10th. So we have a total of 10 single crochets so far. You're going to get a stitch marker and mark the 10th single crochet. This is going to be the ribbing at the base of our cardigan. And then you're going to place 1 half double crochet in each of the next chains until the end of the row. So you yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. And you're going to repeat this all the way across until the end of the row. Alright, so we're coming to the end of the row, and I am still placing 1 half double crochet in each chain. So I'm placing a half double crochet in the very last chain, and this is what you'll have. So we're going on to row 2. For row 2, you're going to start off with a chain of 1 and turn your work. You're going to go into the very first stitch with a half double crochet into both loops of the stitch. And then after the first stitch, for all the remaining half double crochets until we get to the stitch marker, you're going to place 1 half double crochet in the back loop only. So you're going to go into that back loop of the stitch and place a half double crochet. So you're placing 1 half double crochet back loop only in each and every stitch until we get to the stitch that has the stitch marker where the ribbing of the cardigan starts from. Don't forget, back loop only. 1 half double crochet, back loop only. Right, so we are approaching the stitch with the stitch marker, and I'm placing 1 half double crochet in back loop only in the stitch before the one with the stitch marker. So this is the stitch with the stitch marker. You're going to remove your stitch marker, and into that stitch that had the stitch marker, you're going to go into the back loop only and place 1 single crochet. So this time no yarning over. You're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all, but in the back loop only. And then you're going to replace your stitch marker into that very first single crochet stitch and continue to single crochet, back loop only in each of the next 8 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we've placed 1 single crochet back loop only in each of the single crochet stitches. Now in the last stitch, you're going to place 1 single crochet. So this time not in the back loop only. You're going to place 1 single crochet in the last stitch. So this is what we have for row 2. Row 3, you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work. After turning your work, this is row 3, you're going to go into the very first stitch with a single crochet in both loops. And then for the next 8 stitches, you're going to go into the back loop only. So 1 single crochet back loop only in each of the next 8 stitches. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and this will bring us to the stitch that has the stitch marker. So you're going to remove your stitch marker from there, and you're going to place 1 single crochet back loop only, and then replace your stitch marker into the new stitch or the new row. And then from here you're going to continue to place 1 half double crochet back loop only in each of the next stitches until you have only 1 stitch left on your row. So we are placing 1 half double crochet back loop only until the second last stitch. Alright, we are coming to the end of row 3, and I'm placing a half double crochet back loop only into the second last stitch. And now I have only 1 stitch left, and in the last stitch you're going to place 1 half double crochet in both loops. This time not back loop only. Make sure you find both loops and place your half double crochet in both the loops of the stitch from the previous row. That way we're going to have a very clean edge on the base and on the top of the panels. So we are going to just repeat rows 2 and 3 again and again. As you can see, we are building our work sideways. We're going to keep working until we have our shoulder to shoulder measurement. Until we have our shoulder to shoulder measurement for our back panel. Alright guys, now for my back panel, I continued to work until I had a total of 35 rows, and this gave me approximately 20 to 21 inches, which is the shoulder to shoulder measurement that I am considering for my cardigan. Now that we know how to make the stitch pattern, you're going to repeat the same exact process for the 2 front panels, the same exact starting chain as the back panel, and you're going to make 2 of them. But this time around I did a total of 15 rows on one side and 15 rows for the second front panel. This should be identical. So this is exactly what we have. This is the bottom part of the panel, and then this is the upper part of the panel. Alright, if I'm to introduce my back panel, as you can see here, one of the front panels is going to go to this side, and the second front panel is going to be going to this side. So remember I told you I did a total of 35 rows for the back panel. You should make sure that you have an odd number of rows for your back panel. Now once you have your odd number of rows, for example I have 35 rows, you're going to take off 5 rows. 35 minus 5, that is 30, and divide that number by 2, and that will be 15. So that's the number that I am considering for the 2 front panels. 15 rows here and 15 rows here. That way we're going to manage to have a separation or some sort of gap in the middle of the cardigan. Alright, so that's it for the two front panels and then the back panel. And then when it comes to the sleeves, we're going to use the same exact stitch pattern as you can see here. But this time around, you're going to determine how long you want your sleeves to be. For mine, my sleeve length is a total of 20 inches, as you can see here. And I started with a chain of 61, not 51 this time. I started with a chain of 61 and kept working my piece until I had the sleeve thickness that I wanted, which is a total of 25 rows, and this one is giving me a total of about 13 inches for my sleeve thickness. So remember, this one is going to be folded into half, just like this, and then you're going to make your second sleeve, which is this one. I have my 2 sleeves ready. So basically you should have a total of 5 panels, the 2 sleeves, and then the 2 front panels, and then we have the biggest panel, which is the back panel. And let's see how to assemble each and everything in order to create this beautiful cardigan. Alright guys, to give you a clearer view of what things are supposed to look like, this is the back panel. We're going to go ahead and attach our 2 front panels along the shoulder seam from here to here, and also fold over our 2 front panels, because at that point they will be joined together. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we shall attach our sleeves later on. Alright, so as I had showed you earlier on, you're going to get your darning needle and you're going to attach our front panels onto the back panel. So to do this, you're going to thread your darning needle with the same exact color of yarn, and we're going to start attaching row to row from the outside edge of our panels. As you can see here, we're going into the very first row, and I'm going in there 2 times just to secure my yarn a little bit more than just passing it through once. And then I go onto the next row, which is row 2 from the outside edge, and I attach onto row 2 of the front panel, then go onto row 3. Make sure you're not over tightening your stitches. Okay, so I'm going to just continue attaching row to row. Right now I'm at row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, I have a total of 15 rows for my front panel. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and this is the 15th row from the outside edge. So just like that, we are done attaching. I'm going to attach 2 times for my final row, just to secure my yarn a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same exact thing on this side, so that I have both my front panels attached onto the back panel. So alright guys, you can see what has happened right now. We've attached both our front panels onto the back panel, and now if you fold it over, you're going to have this split in the middle of your cardigan. As you can see here, we left out the 5 rows that we worked less. Remember, we worked 5 rows less for the front panels from the back panel. So if I had a total of 35 rows for the back panel, minus 5 rows, which are these ones, divide by 2, which is 15 and 15 on this side. So let's go ahead, open up your cardigan again, and then introduce your sleeve. This time around, we're going to locate the exact middle. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 25 rows for my sleeve, and I'm going to locate the exact middle, which should be the 13th, this one. So that's the exact middle. I'm going to align it with the seam line or the shoulder seam of my the cardigan body, and this time around we are going to attach 2 rows of this piece onto each row of the sleeve. That's what we are going to do for the sleeves. 2 rows of the body of the cardigan onto each row of the sleeve. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. So instead of using my darning needle, I'm going to replace it with a stitch marker here. And then I'm going to thread my darning needle just like this, and I'm going to start attaching, but from the exact center, from the seam line, the shoulder seam. So I'm going to attach that point twice, but leaving behind a tail to attach on the second half of the attaching of the sleeve onto the body of the cardigan. So I'm going to attach 2 times, just pass it through 2 times. We're passing through the seam line as well as the exact middle row of the sleeve. Now from here you're going to get 2 stitches of this side onto each row on this side. So let's see how that goes. We have this 1 stitch and then the next stitch, just like that, and then the next 2 stitches into 1 row of the sleeve, 1 and then 2, and then get the next 2 stitches into the next row of the sleeve, 1 and 2, and you're going to continue doing this, 1 and 2. Make sure you're attaching 2 stitches of this side into each row on this side. Until you run out of rows on the sleeve. Okay. So this is going to also ensure that our sleeves are not very tight around the armpits, this approach in particular. All right, so I'm on my last row of the sleeve and I'm attaching my last 2 stitches on this side. So look at that, look how far we've gone. That's a long stretch. We're going to remove our darning needle at this point and then thread it into this tail that we left behind on this side in the middle of the attachment. And now we're going to start attaching while going this side. Remember, 2 stitches of the body of the cardigan into each row of the sleeve. Don't forget that, and make sure you don't skip any row, because somehow you will fail to balance your cardigan. So we are attaching our very last row with 2 stitches on the body of the cardigan, and then you can remove your darning needle. Look what we have right now. And now you're going to remove this stitch marker because it's no longer useful. we're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing on the opposite side. So we've attached our very first sleeve. If I'm to zoom out, you look what we have. We're going to go ahead and repeat the same exact process for our second sleeve. So get your second sleeve and place it where it's supposed to be. Mark the exact middle stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The exact middle stitch, the exact middle row of the sleeve is here, and then attach it onto the seam line, the shoulder seam of the cardigan, just so that you can mark the exact middle, and then start attaching onto this side and onto this side later on. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be back to show you what I have. Alright guys, now that we are done attaching our sleeves, as you can see, the sleeves are here on the sides of the cardigan, and then these are our two front panels, and then this is the back panel, which is the biggest panel of our design. So we're now going to fold over our work like this along the shoulder seam. That way it will fold the front panels to the front of the cardigan, and also fold over our sleeves in order to form, to break it into half to form the sleeve. And we have to have a joining here. We're going to create a seam line at the base of our sleeve, as well as on the side of the cardigan, as you can see here. So we're going to use these same exact tails that we left behind. I have a longer one here, and it will be the one to join towards the side of the sleeve, and then the shorter one is going to join. Alright guys, as I was saying, we're going to join the side of our cardigan as well as the base of our sleeve all the way across until the end. So stitch to stitch all the way down and all the way to the side. I'm making sure that all the tails are on the inside of my work. That way it will be very easy for me to weave in the tails later on. So I'm starting with the very first stitch, and I'm joining onto the foundation chain of the sleeve. So the first stitch gets 2 stitches in order to secure that attachment. And then you're going to just go all the way across into each and every stitch. So you can see how the seam line is blending in so well with the pattern that we used. Alright guys, here we are. I had a hard time kind of balancing the stitches on both ends, and I would advise, if you're going to join the under the sleeve, you start from this side going into the armpit area. That's my little advice that I would give in order for you to be able to balance the stitches well. So another thing is, when it comes to the side of the cardigan, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to start from the base going all the way to the armpit. I think that way it's very hard to lose track of the number of stitches or to mismatch the stitches. So I'm going to start from the base and attach my very first stitch twice, and then start attaching these other stitches all the way to the armpit. So you can see how the seam line is also very, very neat. And it's blending in so well with the ribbed effect that we have for the cardigan, for the main body of the cardigan. Alright guys, so when it comes to this part, you're going to make sure you join this part very well so that the armpit area doesn't end up having a hole. Just find a way of attaching those stitches so that they're entirely closed up. Do what you have to do so that you can close up the armpit section of your cardigan. And then once you're done with that, you're going to push this tail to the back side where we shall weave it in later on. And we're going to repeat the same exact process that we've done onto this side. On this side, you're going to just fold over and attach from the base of the cardigan until the armpit. And then remember what I advised, you come from the ribbing of the sleeve all the way to the armpit. And then I'll meet you back when I am through with that. Alright guys, after joining the sleeves as well as the sides of the cardigan, you will have something that looks like this. I'll be attaching some videos to show you exactly what the sweater looks like at the moment. Now, you can decide to leave your sweater at this level, but I'm going to go ahead and create some sort of ribbing on the opening, the front opening of the sweater. So to do that, I'm going to use one strand as well as a hook, 2 hook sizes down. So remember, for the body of the cardigan, I used an 8mm crochet hook. Now I'm using a 6mm crochet hook, and I'm using a single strand. So I'm going to start with a slip knot, and I'm going to attach into the very first stitch here. And then I'm going to make a chain of 6. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to make a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I want my ribbing to be 5 stitches thick. So I have my 6 chains, and the 6th chain, which is this one, is going to be a turning chain. So you're going to go into the 2nd chain from the hook and place a single crochet. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through all. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all. So we are basically placing 1 single crochet in each and every chain, and you will have a total of 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can make your ribbing as thick as you want. You can make it 7, you can make it 5, you can even make it 3 if you want a thinner ribbing. So you're going to go into the next stitch. Remember, this is the stitch where we attached, so you go into the next stitch with 1 slip stitch. So you insert your hook, pull up a loop, and pull through all. You just insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through all. That's a slip stitch. And then you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch and turn your work. Now you're going to place 1 single crochet back loop only in each of the 5 single crochets of the ribbing of the cardigan. So you're only going into the back loop. And just like that, you will have your 5 single crochets back loop only. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 and turn your work. This is row 3. So single crochet back loop only in each of the 5 single crochets from the previous row. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So once you're done with your 5 single crochets back loop only, you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch of the cardigan, and then slip stitch into the next stitch, and then turn your work. So that's what we're going to repeat. Repeat rows 2 and 3. So this row 4 resembles row 2. So you single crochet back loop only in each of the 5 single crochets from the previous row. So remember, I mentioned that this is totally optional. You can skip it if you prefer your sweater to be the same as what I just showed you in my previous video. So chain 1 and turn your work, single crochet, back loop only in each of the 5 single crochets from the previous row. So just like that, and then you're going to slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches of the cardigan. So we're going to just repeat that all the way around the opening of the cardigan, the front opening. You're just going to repeat this again and again until you get to the opposite side. So the opposite side I'm talking about is this side. So you're going to do that all the way across. So I'll show you what to do when it comes to this part, because at this point we don't have stitches, we have rows. So I'll be showing you how to handle this area here, and then we shall go all the way down until the opposite side. This is what I was talking about, the opposite side of where we started our ribbing from. So let me go ahead and keep working, and I'll meet you back when I'm at this point and I have to explain what to do. All right guys, we've gone all the way from the base here all the way up. Now we are at this point when we are going to work at the back of the neck. So what we are going to do here, you're going to continue to chain 1 and single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch. Remember, we have 5 stitches. Make sure you keep this number of stitches constant. Just like that. And then you are going to go into the next row, because now we are working in rows. The first row 2 times, and then turn your work and single crochet back loop only in each of the 5 single crochets of the ribbing. This time in each and every row you will place 2 slip stitches. So after this you make a chain of 1 and turn your work, single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch, and then you're going to go into the next row and place 2 slip stitches, and then turn your work and single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch of the ribbing. So that's what we are going to do all the way across the back of the neck. So you can see that we've crossed over to this side. Let me show you what to do one more time. Chain 1, turn, single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch towards the body of the cardigan, and then slip stitch twice in the next row, 1 and 2, and then turn your work and single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch. So that's what we are going to do until we make it across the back of the neck. So look what we have, guys. This is very beautiful. The ribbing is just making this cardigan much more professional. So you're going to do that all the way across, as you can see, and then when it comes to this side you will go back to this particular setup. You slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches and then keep working your ribbing all the way down until the end of the row. Alright guys, as you can see, we've moved all the way from here all the way up to behind the neck and all the way down. So we are on the last row of the single crochet stitches. All right, so I'm going to finish up by chaining one and single crocheting into the back loop of each of the 5 stitches from the previous row, just like we've been doing before, to maintain that ribbed effect for the ribbing at the front of the cardigan. And then from here I'm going to make a slip stitch onto the body of the cardigan. I'm going to just find a space where to place the slip stitch. So I'm going to insert my hook. Sorry, the stitches are a little bit tight here. So you slip stitch there and then make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. So that way you have worked your front ribbing all the way around the front opening of the cardigan. Now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the loose ends on this cardigan, and then we shall go on to the next step. We have loose ends within the inside or the wrong side of the cardigan, and I'm going to get rid of all of them, and then we shall be back to see what to do next. Alright guys, at the end of the ribbing at the front of the cardigan, this is what you're going to have. As you can see, it is a very small detail that runs all the way around the front of our cardigan, and it creates that finished look. It creates that ribbing around the front opening of the cardigan, and I think it creates a much better look than just leaving it plain, but this is totally optional. You can leave it out or go ahead and attach a ribbing just like I did here. For me, I'm much more satisfied with the ribbing on it. So if you want yours to be like mine, go ahead and do the ribbing as well. And now we're going to place some accents onto the sweater, and I want to attach some puffy flowers just to add a pop of color. But this is totally optional. If you don't want to do it, don't. And let's go ahead and create our flowers. Alright guys, after the general construction of the sweater, we are now going to create our flowers. Our flowers are going to look like this. I chose the yellow color on the back, on the boundary, and then this red color in the middle, so it will pop just as you can see here. So I was able to share on my YouTube posts community page, and many people were receptive to adding a pop of color. There were very few people who weren't very positive about it, but we shall go with the majority. And the good thing, this is totally optional, so you can leave it out or go ahead and do it if you wish. So to create this lovely flower, you're going to get your boundary color. We start with the color that's going to go on the outside of the flower, and you're going to make a magic ring. So you're going to hold your yarn like this, twist it over, insert your hook under this loop, grab this yarn here, and then hold, and then make a chain of 1. This chain of 1 doesn't count as anything. And then you're going to make a chain of 3. 1, 2, and 3. This counts as a half double crochet and a chain 1. So we're going to yarn over and half double crochet into the magic ring 5 more times. So you yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all. So I said 5 more times, separated by chain 1 spaces. So this is the first one, chain 1, half double crochet into the magic ring. This is the second one, chain 1, half double crochet into the magic ring. This is the third one, chain 1, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through all, chain 1, and this should be the last one, half double crochet. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th is this one, the chain of 2, and then the chain 1. So we have this chain of 3 and then 5 more half double crochets into the magic ring. You're going to close up the magic ring by pulling on that chain or the excess yarn at the base, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 and slip stitch into the second chain of the first chain 3 of the round. You go into the second chain and make a slip stitch just like that. So this will create a round. So we're going to start creating these big petals. As you can see here, we have to have a total of 6 of them. So the 6 that we are considering is the petals are going to be placed in the chain 1 spaces in between the half double crochet stitches. So you're going to go into the chain 1 space, that one, and make a slip stitch just to go into the space where we're going to place the petal. And then you're going to make a chain of 3, and then we're going to yarn over. I don't know how to explain this, I don't know the term, but just watch what I'm doing. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and you're going to do this 9 more times. So this is the first time. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, that's the second time. Into the same space, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So as I had mentioned, I did 9 more times. That means I've done this for a total of 10 times. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through all, and then make a chain of 1 to close off that puffy stitch, and then make a chain of 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into the same exact space where you've placed your puff stitch. Insert your hook and pull through all. So this is what our very first puff stitch will look like. And remember, this is the bottom side of the flower, so when you turn it around, it will pop on the right side. So where we're working right now is the wrong side of the flower, the bottom part, which is supposed to look like this, so that the right side looks like this. So we're going to do that again. You're going to skip over the next half double crochet and go into the chain 1 space with a slip stitch, and then you're going to make a chain of 3. From here you're going to make that stitch 10 times, sorry, for a total of 10 times. So remember, you just yarn over and insert your hook, pull up a loop. That's the first time. So you're going to do that 9 more times in order to create the next puff stitch. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So from here you're going to yarn over and pull through all, and then make a chain of 1 to close off the puff stitch, and then you're going to make a chain of 3 and slip stitch into the same exact space where you've placed your puff stitch. That is your second petal. So we have this one and this one, and when we turn it around you can see exactly what it looks like. So you're going to repeat this for a total of 4 more times, so that we have a total of 6 petals. So slip stitch into the next chain 1 space, and then create another puff stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yarn over, pull through all, chain 1, chain 3, slip stitch into the same space with the puff stitch you just created. So keep doing that until you have a total of 6 petals, and I'll meet you back when mine is ready. Alright, so I've just placed my last puff stitch and I've closed it off with a chain of 1. Now I'm going to make a chain of 3 and slip stitch into the same exact space where the last puff stitch is. Let's make a slip stitch there, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 and get a pair of scissors and cut your yarn. So just like that, we have a total of 6 petals, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to get this tail that's on top, and we're going to push it to the back using our hook so that we can have something as neat as this. Now you're going to turn over your work and tie these 2 tails together, making sure that you don't distort the shape of our flower. Just tie it like that. And since we are going to attach it to a garment, I'm going to leave the tails behind because they really help out when it comes to attaching. You just make a knot onto the garment that you want to accessorize with these flowers. Now we're going to go onto the middle section, this one here, that's going to sit in that space. You should be seeing a space in the middle of the petals, and that's what we are going to create right now. You can see for the several flowers you have that little popping color in the middle. So if you want to use the same exact color, you can go ahead and do that, but for me I'll be using a contrasting color to make my flower look exactly like this. So you're going to put this aside and you're going to create a magic ring again. So twist over your yarn like this and grab the working yarn and then make a chain of 1. That chain of 1 doesn't count as anything. And then you're going to single crochet into the magic ring, but this time after your single crochet you're going to pull up your yarn just like this. This is how thick the middle this middle color will be, that length from here to here. So you're going to just pull it a little bit, just giving it a little bit of length, and then you're going to do exactly what we've been doing for the petals for a total of 10 times. So yarn over, insert your hook into the magic ring, pull up a loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So just like that, you're going to yarn over and pull through all, and then you're going to close it off with a chain of 1. And then you're going to get the tail of the magic ring and close it up just like this. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, leaving behind a tail for attaching. So we have these 2 tails, one on top and one at the bottom. So you're going to get your flower that doesn't have a middle point, and then you're going to place this piece into that gap, that space of the petals, in the middle of the petals. But you can see those spaces around the petals where we were placing the petals. You're going to get one space and then pull through this tail, one of the tails of the middle color, and then get the opposite side and pull through the other tail as well, just like this. So that way our middle color is going to be placed comfortably well. And then you're going to turn your work to the back side and you're going to make a double knot for your middle color. The 2 tails, you're going to tie them either 2 times or 3 times, whichever is comfortable for you, whichever feels more secure. You can tie 3 times. And then, yeah, at this point our flower is finished, and you're going to make several of them. As you can see, I've already gone ahead to make many of these. I enjoyed the process, so I was like, let me just go ahead and keep creating these beautiful flowers. and then I'll be attaching them onto our garment later on. So we're going to get our sweater. Alright guys, now to attach your flower, remember I told you to leave these tails behind. Don't do anything to them, don't cut them off as yet, because they're going to help out when we are attaching the flowers onto our cardigan. So you're going to locate where you want to place your flower, let me say here, and then you're going to go under the cardigan and then put your hook through and then pull the first color, both strands, and then skip a few stitches or just skip a space, and then you can insert your hook into the next spot and then pull the other color, which is the yellow color, and then this is where your flower is going to be located. If you're pleased with the placement, now turn your work onto the back side, and now you have two ends on the wrong side of your work. You can go ahead and either tie a knot either twice or 3 times, whichever you wish to have in order to feel secure. So you're going to have your flower attached like this. You're going to go ahead and keep attaching your flowers at different points in order to get different effects for your cardigan. Go ahead and attach your flowers maybe on the sleeves or at the back, even at the back panel if you wish to have that effect for your cardigan. And I'll show you what mine will look like when I'm through with attaching several flowers onto the cardigan. Alright guys, after attaching the flowers, this is what you're going to have, a very colorful and beautiful cardigan. As I had mentioned, this is optional, but if you want to add a pop of color, I'll definitely recommend that you add these beautiful puffy flowers. So this is the final result. We already have a tutorial of the sunburst crochet bralette on my channel, so if you would like to check it out, as well as the shorts, I'll be leaving the tutorial of both of them on in the description box below, and also for the written patterns. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial guys. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys, thanks for watching.